Okay, let's get stuck into this. You're pouring time, maybe energy, into social media, right? Posting pretty consistently.
Yeah, doing all the things you think you should be doing.
Exactly. But it just feels like, well, you're getting hardly any likes, maybe a few shares, comments that don't really go anywhere, and definitely not seeing real business results from it all.
Mm-hmm.
If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It often feels like you're just shouting into this massive digital void.
It really does.
And, for those who are actively trying to, really boost their profiles and get noticed, the source material we looked at actually mentions rapidboost.net. It positions it as a platform specifically designed to help entrepreneurs, brands, creators grow faster.
Right, with tailored strategies, aiming for real engagement, not just vanity numbers. The idea seems to be moving profiles from kind of invisible to more influential.
Yeah, an interesting resource mentioned for speeding up growth. But that feeling of being invisible despite putting the effort in,
Yeah.
that's so common.
It absolutely is, because the whole digital space, it's not just crowded, it's almost actively working against generic stuff now. Just, showing up with okay pictures or basic Happy Monday updates. It's just not cutting it anymore, not enough to break through.
Right. And that frustration, that feeling invisible, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've been digging into excerpts from Crafting Effective Social Media Content Plans, and it tackles this head on.
Yeah, it does.
So our mission really is to pull out the key strategies, the actual insights into why so much content kind of bombs, and crucially, how to build a plan, a strategic plan, that gets you real engagement, real growth.
The core question the source really gets at is,
Yeah.
well, what is the difference?
Mm.
You see these accounts that seem to blow up, build huge influence, seemingly without effort.
Yeah. While others are posting just as much, maybe more, and just nothing. Stuck.
Exactly. And the source is pretty clear. The answer isn't really luck or some secret viral formula.
It's having that strategic content plan.
Yeah.
Proper roadmap.
Yeah. So why do so many people fail? The source points out some common traps. Big ones.
Like what?
Well, one huge one is being purely reactive,
Mm.
always chasing the latest trend, that meme, that sound, without stopping to think, does this actually fit my brand? Does my audience even care about this?
Oh, totally. Shiny object syndrome.
Exactly, which often goes hand in hand with trying to be literally everywhere, spreading yourself so thin across TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, you name it,
Trying to master them all, but mastering none.
pretty much. Your feeds end up looking, I don't know, disjointed, inconsistent, and your audience just doesn't feel that connection.
Okay, so that's what not to do. What does the source say actually works? What cuts through?
It boils down to three, non-negotiable fundamentals.
Yeah.
First, you have to go way beyond just basic demographics. You need a really deep understanding of your audience,
Deeper than age and location.
way deeper. Their actual needs, what they aspire to, their daily digital habits, what makes them tick.
Okay, deep audience knowledge. Got it. Foundation.
Foundational. Second, successful plans need a really clear brand voice and a signature style, something people instantly recognize as you.
Like a personality for the brand, not just a logo and some colors.
Precisely. And the third big one is shifting your whole mindset from just broadcasting messages out.
Talking at people.
Yeah, to actively driving two-way engagement. It's got to be about starting conversations, interacting, building relationships, not just publishing stuff.
This makes me think of that classic Wendy's example on Twitter.
Oh yeah, perfect example.
Their whole sassy, funny, super fast response thing. That wasn't an accident, was it?
Not at all. That was a deliberate strategy. Roasting competitors, replying directly to followers in that specific tone, those interactive campaigns. It built a huge following.
And not just because it was funny, right? It was consistent. It felt authentic to that brand personality, and it drove real back and forth.
Absolutely. They knew their audience, they had that unmistakable voice, and they prioritized the interaction. Now, contrast that with the generic, Happy Friday, everyone, post the source mentions.
Yeah, the ones that just vanish into the feed.
Exactly. One builds a following, maybe even a movement.
Yeah.
The other is just noise.
Yeah.
Gone.
Okay, so if strategy is the key, not just random posting, where do you start building that strategy?
The source is really emphatic on this. It all starts with goals, clearly defined goals.
Goals that mean something.
Exactly. Tied to actual outcomes. You need that North Star.
Is your main aim right now brand awareness? Or maybe building a super engaged community, driving traffic?
Yeah.
Generating actual leads.
Because the goal dictates everything else.
Everything, or what content you create, which platforms you focus on, what metrics you actually track, it all flows from that primary objective.
And the source makes a point about being specific, right? Not just get more followers.
Definitely. No vague wishes. It's got to be measurable. So, grow our Instagram following by 20% in the next 6 months. Or, increase the average engagement rate per post to 3% this quarter. Specific. Trackable.
What kind of metrics does the source suggest tracking beyond, like, follower count? It lists key ones. Follower growth rate, not just the raw number. Average engagement per post, that's crucial. Click-through rates from social to your website or landing pages. Actual conversions you can attribute back to social campaigns. And even things like brand sentiment. Are people talking positively or negatively?
You need to be able to measure it to manage it. Makes sense.
If you can't measure it, you can't strategically improve it. Simple as that.
And these social goals, they need to fit into the bigger picture, the overall business goals.
Absolutely critical. The source uses a great example, a B2B software company. Their main goal probably isn't going viral on TikTok with a dance challenge, right?
Probably not.
Their objective is more likely lead generation, maybe establishing thought leadership. So their content strategy is going to focus on, say, really valuable guides, customer success stories, expert insights.
Delivered on platforms like LinkedIn, maybe Twitter X.
Exactly. Where their target buyers, those decision makers, are actually spending their time during the workday. That alignment is key.
Okay, and the source had a pro tip about keeping things fresh.
Yeah, I like this one. Implement quarterly theme sprints. So dedicate a whole month or even a quarter to really diving deep on one specific topic that's relevant to your brand and audience.
Like a month focused on sustainability or maybe customer success stories.
Exactly. Or a specific product feature set. It just provides focus, structure, stops the content feeling random week to week.
Okay, so goals are set, they're specific, they're aligned. What's next? You mentioned audience understanding earlier.
Yes, and the source really doubles down here. Knowing your audience, but going way beyond the surface stuff.
Beyond just age, location, the basics.
Way beyond. You need the deeper stuff, both quantitative the numbers and qualitative the why. The source suggests digging into your platform analytics first. What content already performs best? When are your followers actually online and engaging?
Using tools like Google Analytics, too, or the built-in insights on Instagram or Facebook.
Definitely. See where people are coming from, what content makes them click, what other interests they have. But also, and this is crucial, you need to actually listen and ask.
How do you do that effectively?
Use the tools. Polls and stories, Q&A stickers, just asking direct questions and captions. Find out their biggest challenges, their pain points, what information they're actually looking for from you.
And looking at competitors.
Yeah, what topics are sparking real conversation over there? That tells you what resonates in your niche.
And all this research, it's not just data points, it's about building, what did the source call them? Avatars, personas.
Audience avatars or personas, exactly. Really detailed ones, not just demographics, but like if it's B2B, what's their job title? What are their daily frustrations? What are they trying to achieve professionally or personally?
Where do they hang out online? What kind of content do they actually prefer? Video, memes, in-depth articles.
Yeah, take the source's example. That 32-year-old marketing manager at a sauce company, what drives her? Efficiency, probably. Career growth? Hitting her targets? What's her pain point? Maybe wasting time on tedious tasks.
Where is she scrolling during work hours? LinkedIn, maybe Twitter.
Right. And what content would actually grab her attention? Quick tips, actionable hacks, success stories from people like her. That level of detail lets you tailor everything so much more effectively.
And you need to think about where they are in their journey with you, right?
The source breaks it down nicely. Awareness stage. You need content that entertains or educates at a high level. Just get on their radar.
Consideration stage.
That's when you go deeper. More insights, how-tos, comparisons. Show them how you can help.
And then decision stage.
That's demos, testimonials, case studies, maybe special offers. Social proof becomes really important then. Giving them the confidence to choose you.
Okay, so goals. Deep audience understanding.
Yeah.
Now we need structure for the actual messages. That's where content pillars come in.
Exactly. Think of them as the main themes, the recurring topics that are central to your brand and genuinely valuable to your audience.
These are the things you talk about consistently.
Right. The source suggests most effective plans have maybe 3 to 5 clearly defined pillars. Gives you focus, but also flexibility.
What are some common examples the source mentioned?
Things like educational content guides, tips, how-tos, inspirational content success stories, behind the scenes, maybe highlighting company values, entertaining content, humor, relatable stuff, Q&As, and community-focused content user spotlights, polls,
Yeah.
discussions.
And the idea is to balance these, not just post educational stuff all the time.
Absolutely. You need a mix. Educational stuff might build your authority, but maybe entertaining content gets more shares and reach. Community content builds loyalty. It's about hitting different goals and appealing to different facets of your audience.
Like Glossier, the beauty brand example.
Perfect one. They mix it up brilliantly. Educational posts about ingredients,
Then customer reviews and user photos.
which is kind of inspirational and community-focused, and then playful behind-the-scenes stuff. It makes them feel smart and real, approachable.
Okay, makes sense. So we've got goals, audience, pillars. How do we actually deliver this? What about formats?
Right? Content formats and mediums. This is where you connect your pillars to the types of content your audience likes on the platforms they use.
So like a how-to pillar might work well as short videos, reels, TikToks.
Exactly. Or maybe a complex process is better as an Instagram carousel they can swipe through. Quick stats, maybe an infographic. Asking a community question. Use a poll sticker or a direct Q&A post.
And the source says don't just guess what formats work.
No. Experiment. Try different things within your pillars, then look at your analytics. The data will tell you pretty clearly what resonates most with your specific audience. Don't assume. Test.
Okay, so the strategy is taking shape. Now, the execution, making sure it actually happens consistently. Content calendaring.
Yes. Super important for consistency and avoiding that last-minute panic posting.
This is about planning the when and where.
Exactly. And it starts with choosing your platforms wisely. The source really stresses this. You do not need to be everywhere. Pick the 2 or 3 platforms where your core audience genuinely hangs out.
And where you can realistically create good content that adds value.
Right. Don't just have a profile somewhere because you feel you should.
And that pro tip about auditing existing channels.
Yeah, that's smart if you're pouring energy into a platform and getting 0 engagement, and your audience isn't really there. Maybe cut it loose. Focus that energy where it counts. Quality over just being present everywhere.
Once you have your core platforms, then it's about posting frequency. Cadence.
Yep, establish a realistic, consistent posting cadence for each. Quality always beats quantity if the quantity feels forced or low effort. The source gives some general guidelines,
Like Instagram 3 to 5 times a week, plus daily stories reels.
something like that. Twitter X, maybe 1-3 times a day. LinkedIn, perhaps 2-4 times a week. TikTok often benefits from more frequency, maybe 3 to 7 times a week. But these are just starting points. Your audience and analytics will guide the specifics.
That still sounds like a lot of content to create week in, week out.
It is, which is why the source heavily pushes batch creating content. Block out time. Create a week's worth, maybe even a month's worth of posts focused around your pillars.
Get ahead of the game.
Exactly. Then use scheduling tools, Buffer, Hootsuite, Later, whatever works, not just to save time, but to post strategically when your analytics show your audience is most active. Optimize that timing.
And visualize it all, right? A calendar.
A visual content calendar is key. Use Trello, Asana, even a simple Google Sheet. Map out platform, date, time, pillar, content type, maybe the caption draft.
The source suggested color coding by pillar.
Yeah, great idea. Lets you see at a glance if you've got a good balance of educational, entertaining, community stuff, etc. Are you hitting all your themes?
And don't forget key dates. Launches, holidays, industry events.
Absolutely. Build those in so you can tap into relevant conversations and make your content feel timely.
Okay, the structure is planned. Now, the actual posts. Making them good?
Yeah.
The source called it the art of crafting posts that spark real engagement.
Yeah, this is crucial, making people actually stop scrolling.
Why do you do that? Scroll stopping captions?
It starts there. The source says grab attention immediately. Start with a hook, an open loop. You won't believe what happened next. A provocative question, a bold statement.
Like their example, ever wonder why your Instagram stories feel invisible? Here's the hard truth. That makes you want to know.
Right, it pulls you in. And then inject your actual brand personality. Use language your audience uses. Avoid corporate jargon. Have a point of view. Bland is invisible.
Visuals, too. Can't forget visual.
Non-negotiable. Invest time or resources in good graphics, branded templates, decent photos, quality video. Even basic tools like Canva, InVideo, CapCut can make a huge difference, especially for stories or TikToks. Visuals grab the eye first.
And authenticity matters.
Hugely. The source emphasizes leveraging user-generated content stuff your actual customers create. And testimonials. People trust other people way more than they trust polished brand ads.
Makes sense. And always include a call to action, a CTA.
Always. Don't leave people hanging. Every post should gently guide them to do something. Ask a question in the comments. Tag a friend. Visit the link in bio. DM us, whatever aligns with the post's goal. And test different CTAs. See what works.
Okay, and then there's the algorithm piece, optimizing for how the platforms actually work.
Yeah, a layer many people forget. The source reminds us. Algorithms love engagement, especially early engagement after you post. Likes, shares, comments, saves those signals. Tell the platform your content is valuable.
So you need to actively encourage that interaction.
You do. Use interactive stickers in stories, polls, quizzes, Q&As, and your captions with questions that genuinely invite discussion. Maybe run time-limited offers to create urgency.
Even simple things like double tap if you agree.
Can help. And remember what the algorithms currently favor: short-form video, like Reels, TikToks, Shorts, and live video. If those formats fit your strategy and audience, lean into them. Use them strategically.
Seeing this work in practice helps. The source had some case studies.
Yeah, a couple of really good ones. First was Luna & Co., a small e-commerce brand.
Yeah.
They really applied these principles, audited their content, set up clear pillars like behind-the-scenes, style tips, customer stories, created a calendar with things like mini tutorials, Q&As, focused on personalized captions.
And results.
Instagram engagement went up by 270% in 4 months.
Wow. 270%.
Yeah. And crucially, the source noted it wasn't just like it led to more sales. Real business impact.
That's the goal. What was the other one?
Project 360, a B2B SaaS company struggling on LinkedIn, they completely shifted their approach, stopped posting generic company updates.
And started doing what instead?
Focus on customer win stories. Hosted monthly LinkedIn live sessions with experts, turned complex industry stuff into simple, engaging infographics.
And that worked for B2B.
Big time. They tripled their demo bookings that came directly from LinkedIn. Value-driven content tailored to the audience on the right platform. It worked.
There was a data point, too, about responsiveness.
Oh yeah, from Sprout Social. It said brands posting at least 3 times a week and replying to comments really quickly, like within an hour, get up to 33% higher engagement than slower, less consistent competitors.
That really highlights the two-way street thing. It's an active process.
Absolutely. Consistency and engagement go hand in hand.
Okay, so you've built the plan, you're executing. How do you make sure it stays effective? How do you improve? Analysis and iteration, right?
Critically important.
Yeah.
A plan isn't set in stone. You have to constantly analyze and tweak. The source recommends reviewing your analytics weekly.
Weekly. What are you looking for?
Which posts perform best? Engagement, saves, clicks. When were people most active? Which formats, topics, CTAs really hit home? Use the platform's native tools or things like Sprout Social. Get familiar with your numbers.
And then monthly content audits.
Yeah, take a broader look. Which content themes are actually driving business results, leads, sales, whatever your goal is? Identify what's underperforming and maybe retire that type of content. Double down on what's clearly working: the hooks, the topics, the formats that resonate.
And keep testing, A/B testing.
Constantly. Little tweaks. Try different caption openings, slightly different visuals, post at 8 a.m. versus 5 p.m. These small micro-optimizations, they seem tiny, but they add up over time. They really compound.
And don't forget to ask the audience directly.
Yes. Close that feedback loop. Use polls, Q&As. Ask them what they want more of, less of. What problems are they facing right now? This feedback is gold. It informs your plan and makes your audience feel heard, which boosts engagement even more.
So it sounds like a clear process emerges. The source kind of boiled it down to steps.
Yeah, and an actionable 8-step path to put it all together.
Okay, let's quickly recap those for everyone listening. Step 1, establish clear, measurable objectives and KPIs.
Step 2, build those detailed audience personas. Go deep.
3, define your 3 to 5 core content pillars, the main themes.
4, choose your key platforms wisely, 2 or 3 where you can really shine.
5, set up that visual content calendar, plan it out.
6, batch create content, schedule it strategically, but always monitor and be ready to adjust. Stay flexible.
7, get into a rhythm of analysis, weekly analytics, monthly audits, quarterly audience feedback.
And 8, stay inspired, keep learning, watch what others are doing well, inside and outside your niche.
Okay, that really brings it all together. So to sum up, building a social media plan that actually works, it's not random luck, it's this blend of like art and science.
Definitely. Knowing your audience inside out, getting the right mix of content, engaging like a real human, and then constantly refining based on data.
That structure, the goals, the pillars, the calendar, the analysis, it transforms things. It takes you from just randomly posting stuff to having a focused strategy.
And that consistency, that strategic thinking, plus a dose of authentic creativity.
Yeah.
That's your edge. That's what the source emphasizes.
Because ultimately, this isn't just about getting more likes, is it? It's about driving real meaningful engagement, sustainable growth, stuff that actually helps your business or your personal brand achieve its objectives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, for folks looking to accelerate that, the source points to resources like rapidboost.net as potentially helpful for getting that tailored strategic push.
It's about moving beyond just being another voice in the crowd.
Becoming someone people actually listen to, an influential presence.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to take away from this deep dive. Don't just think about what your next post is going to be.
Think bigger.
Yeah, think about who you are trying to become in the eyes of your audience through all your content consistently over time. How can applying these strategic steps day by day, week by week, intentionally build that identity, that trust, that influence?